Hi, you guys. Welcome back to another Artistry Academy video. My name is Ashley Nicole, and today we are going to be talking about a feature that I found out that a lot of people weren't aware of within Adobe Photoshop. So, back in 2018, Photoshop rolled out a new feature that frankly changed my life and saves me hours of work all the time. This feature is called the Select Subject feature. It's a little bit hidden, but if you're used to cutting out photos or cutting people out of photos, often you might have come across it, and you know what I mean when I say saves hours of time. So, um, I wanted to show you guys how to use this feature and what it's good for on a brand photo. So, one of the things that I feel like um, some business owners don't do is get enough versatility and use out of their brand photos. So, this was a candid brand photo, obviously. Um, I could add text to the dead space. There's a few things that I could do with this photo, but if I wanted to use this photo on a flyer or something else, I might want to alter it and cut myself out of the background. This background is not too busy, but there are other people in it. It's not a clean white background that I normally like to use. So usually when I'm in a situation like this, I go directly to this tool and cut myself out of the photo and create a PNG of just myself. So it's super easy, y'all. So if I am in the layers panel, usually I just like to create a habit of hitting Command J. So I am on a Mac. I hit Command J to copy that layer just in case I do mess something up. I always have the original image to go back to without, exiting out and starting over. Um, so I'm on a new layer. The first thing that you do is go up to select and then you hit subject. And what Photoshop does is, as smart as computers are getting and as smart as this technology is getting, it's basically going to take a few seconds to detect what is the subject of this image. This one is kind of easy because the background is blurred out. So depending on how many things you have in focus in the photo, you might get a different result. But this tool is going to detect what is in focus, what is the subject of this image, and select just that part. So I'm gonna hit subject, and show you what that does. Bam, super easy. So instead of, and I am not saying that you don't need to know how to use the pen tool or the marquee tool, not the marquee tool, the quick select tool or anything like that. Um, this is just something that I use to get me a head start. So you can see it's pretty accurate, but it's not completely accurate. So hair is always going to be the hardest part. Um, as you can see, it didn't catch all of my eyelash. So this is what I do. So once I have Photoshop's selection, I do go back up to the quick selection tool and make sure I'm adding to my selection and get anything that it didn't get. So I'm gonna try to grab a little bit more of my eyelashes there. I'm gonna go up to the retract and get rid of that little black area there. I didn't really need that. Um, and then you can decide like how much of the hair that you want to try to include in there. Um, you can make your own judgments on hair. There's some other tools that you'll be able to use to clean that up, but that's for another video. But basically, I just go back around and make sure I get as much as possible. And then once I'm satisfied with that, again, making sure that I'm still on the correct layer, you go up to layer, new via copy. And what you can see is Photoshop basically created a new layer with everything that was inside of my selection on a transparent background. So if I hide my background layer and my first layer, now you can see what I was able to cut out. And then the next thing that I like to do is in between these two layers, I'll add a new layer and then put some color behind it. Usually not white or black. I usually choose something pretty bright so I can get some contrast between my image and like what that actual cutout is looking like. So if I was to just put white behind there, you probably would be able to see that it's a little raggedy. But I like to be able to see exactly what I'm working with so that I can go back in with either the magic eraser, the background eraser, the eraser tool, whatever, depending on how much I need to clean up and what type of like cut that I need. So this is where now that I've gotten the image selected and cut out, now I can just spend my time cleaning it up. Again, saving hours. Um, and you can again decide, use your own discretion of like what type of cleanup you want to do. I could cut out some of this hair, erase some of it and give myself like I can, change the wave here. Um, it just kind of depends on what you want to do. So I know for the graphic that I was intending to, oops, I always make sure on the right layer. I know for the graphic that I was intending to make, I probably wouldn't need to clean up this side. So I was going to scoot the image over like such and put text on that side. So now I can kind of tell exactly where I need to clean up because that part's going to be hidden. So I could come in here and get rid of, um, some of that white, get it cleaned up to my liking. Okay, so I'm not going to do it all right now, but let's say that was great. The last thing that I like to do, obviously isn't any type of requirement or have anything to really do with the select tool. But sometimes depending on what I'm doing, I like to add a little drop shadow behind it, make it a little more realistic or make it stand out a little more. Obviously, with some of that white still there, it still looks a little crazy, but if, um, I get a little spread there, maybe drop down the opacity just to give it some depth. Um, and now we went from this to this. So again, guys, the select subject tool saves you hours. Get as much as you can out of those brand photos. If you're like me, at least once a quarter, I try to take new brand photos. And I need those photos to last me all 3 of those months. Photo shoots are expensive. I know I do them, and I also pay for them. So get as much as you can out of the photos that you already have. Don't be afraid to alter your images that you've paid for. Look at your photo releases, but also the images that you have, and make you some new graphics. So if you like this video, you can follow us or subscribe to the Artistry Academy YouTube channel. Subscribe, watch other videos and tutorials on Photoshop, Squarespace, and other creative business topics. Also follow us on Instagram at Artistry Academy. See you next time.